All right. South Carolina falls to Arkansas in baseball, wins by 60 in women's basketball. But I asked the question, is Saturday's game against Arkansas a must-win game? We talk about that and more. Locked on Gamecocks starts right now.
You are Locked On Gamecocks, your daily podcast on the South Carolina Gamecocks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Locked On Gamecocks. I'm your host, Chris Marler. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Friday night, Saturday morning. I guess it's Saturday morning, 12:04 a.m. as we're recording this. March Madness winding up. First round is almost over. But before we get into anything that we have on the docket today, I want to say thank you to making Locked On Gamecocks your first listen each and every day. Shout out to our everydayers. We appreciate you guys. Remember, we are a free and available podcast wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Now, today's episode brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. I had a 5 Hour Energy not too long ago to make sure I was up and ready to still do this show. Now that the baseball game is over, listen, 5 Hour Energy, head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. Stock up today and stay energized. Guys, go get you a watermelon 5 Hour around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Give yourself a little afternoon pick-me-up. Finish out the day buzzing like a bee. They work wonders. All right, let's get into where do we want to start? I want to start with baseball, but we're going to start with women's basketball, I think, instead. Let's start with something positive more than anything, okay? Baseball game didn't go our way tonight, lose 12-2. The women's basketball game, South Carolina wins by 60 points over Tennessee Tech. What's amazing about this is a couple of things. Earlier in the day, I'm sitting here, I'm working and writing and doing all this other stuff, watching some of the scores that are scrolling across, and I see Notre Dame women flashes up on my ESPN notification. New record. They won by 50 and scored over 100 points. I think they were the first team ever to do it, or the first team since some time. I don't know. Like that was able to do something of that big of a feat. Hours later, lo and behold, South Carolina does the same thing. Just a phenomenal job. First quarter, I'm just going through the box score here. You're up 33-12, up by 21. Now, we should have seen this coming. The spread was 42. And listen, it's a Tennessee Tech team that was 26-6. Like, not a bad team, but, 26-6. I don't know the strength of that schedule since they were 10-6 in conference, but, not a great day for them. 20% from three, 32% field goal percentage. South Carolina was 63% from three. It was an onslaught. It's what you expected, if we're being honest. Like, it is what we expected. But to do something like that in historic fashion is crazy. The fact that you never get over 15 points in a single quarter is crazy. You were up, let me do the quick math on this, 60-27 at the half. And this is honestly one of the things I think that is probably most impressive. You come out of the half up 60-27, right? The game is over. The game is over. Scoring 60 points and a half is unbelievable. And you come out with your foot still on the gas and you win the third quarter 25-10. So after 3 quarters, you were up, let's do the math here, guys, real quick, 85-37. So a phenomenal job to make sure they had their foot on the gas and didn't let up. That's what you're going to have to do. You got to go 6-0. You got to go 6-0, and this team knows how to do that. And this is a tremendous start they got themselves off to being able to do that. Chloe Kitts, 10 points. Only one of the starters, Chloe Kitts, the only one that was in double digits. She had another great game, 10.6 rebounds. Like I said, it was more so like it felt like the I don't even want to say bench players because they rotate so many players on this team, and also because the team's so deep. Like again, it's the Kim Mulkey line. You got 10 McDonald's All-Americans on that team, right? Joyce Edwards, though, phenomenal, 22 points in this game, 5 rebounds. Malaysia Fulwiley, like, you want to see her get going from deep. I mean, she was 2 of 3. It wasn't like she had a bad game. 15 total points, though. She was great defensively, had 3 steals, 10 steals in the day for the Gamecocks. It was not a great day in terms of protecting the ball. You had 12 turnovers at least, so that wasn't great. But again, very hard to look at this game and nitpick what went wrong. Now, I think that's what also makes what winning teams and great teams great, and it's why Don Staley is such a good coach. Same reason why Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, all those guys are great coaches, because yeah, of course, you won by 60. Everyone knows you dominated this game and you should have won. But the great coaches are the ones that look at a game like this and say, okay, what could we have done better? Because there's not a lot. Home crowd was seemingly pretty great. Attendance was, they said, 11,693 or 683. That's pretty incredible. Listen, overall, just a phenomenal start. Exactly what you wanted to see out of the gates. This is a team that you didn't feel like was going to necessarily get challenged moving forward. Now, they will be playing Indiana next, and that game will be on, I guess, Sunday. Not sure the time yet, but they will go into Sunday with a lot of confidence. Indiana's a 9 seed, so I guess, technically an upset in the first round because it was a lower seed. But a lot of positives will be taken away from that, and a great step in the right direction. More than anything, how about this? Like, again, we looked at the Texas and UConn games being back-to-back, or not back-to-back, because you had Florida in between. You had a big win there. But you lost 2 or 3 games, and that just seems like unfathomable in this day and age with South Carolina women's basketball. Like, you just don't have losses hardly ever. So to have a loss or to have 2 losses in 3 games is crazy. It's just crazy. What they've done since then has been unbelievably impressive. I'm going through it right now. Just off the top of my head, maybe you guys know I'm not always the best at math, but you only have two wins that were by 20 points or less. I think your lowest margin of victory was 16 points in the current streak you're on. You won 8 straight games, and you've done it emphatically, to be honest. You've played really, really well. I think the thing that's probably most impressive over the last couple of wins, like Oklahoma's a top 10 team, you beat them by 18, right? That was in the tournament. Kentucky, top 15 team, beat them by, I am bad at math, beat them by 12. So your lowest margin of victory was 12. But everyone else you pretty much blown out, including today where you had a 60-point win. So you are off and rolling. Indiana will come to town. I'm sure they will present some different problems than Tennessee Tech would have. But nonetheless, you should be favored to win that game and win it very, very handily. So before we move on to the next topic, we're going to get into a little bit of baseball talk. South Carolina goes down 12-2 in game 1 at Arkansas. Not a great showing offensively, really, even from the pitching staff as well. Obviously, you lose 12-2. We'll get into it and more when we return from break. But before we go to break, I do want to give you guys a quick heads up and a quick shout out to one of our new sponsors, and that is Nissan Standard. Listen, we are all about stats. You guys know that. You guys know I love a deep dive more than almost anything. We are all about stats. Now, that being said, numbers don't lie. And when it comes to the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the numbers are on an MVP level. Now, with the ability to up to 8,500 pounds, it can quite literally carry the whole team, plus the gear, wherever you need to go. It's powered by twin-turbo V6 engine, delivering the strength and performance to handle highways, back roads, and everything in between. And with room for up to 8 people, Armada Pro 4X is built for big crews, big adventures, and even bigger memories. Whether you're exploring off-road trails or rolling up to the arena, the Armada Pro 4X brings power, versatility, and style wherever you need to go. Take your adventures to new heights in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Learn more at nissanusa.com. Also, another shout out to our friends at 5 Hour Energy. This show would literally not be possible without it. Daylight savings time snuck up on us again, and if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Now, whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament like me, squeezing in around a golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I have been using it throughout March Madness. We're only 4 days in, and we've got at least 2.5 more weeks of this. But I have enjoyed every single second and being able to stay up late, record the episodes, and get everything I need to get done, all done on time. Whether I'm at a game or traveling, 5 Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps me feeling refreshed. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. All right, we will be back right after this with more Locked On Gamecocks. Listen, I know we do a lot of ad reads on the show. I cannot recommend 5 Hour Energy Watermelon enough. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. All right, let's get into the sad part of the show. Baseball goes down 12-2 at Arkansas. I don't think it's the loss itself is not something that's like a huge shock. I hate to say that, but it's just not because, Arkansas is the number 3 team in the country, and South Carolina is 17-5 coming into the season, but also you talk about, or 17-6 maybe coming into the season, coming into this series, sorry. But you have the losses against Clemson. You obviously have the loss against Oklahoma. I feel like I'm overreacting by saying it's a must-win game because it's not. It's still early on, but you're 1-2 in the conference, and you're not winless, obviously, but starting off a weekend with a 12-2 loss is not how you ever draw it up, ever. Didn't give up any runs in the first, but you gave up multiple runs. I think it was like 1 and 3. Maybe. No, I'm sorry. You gave up 1 run in the second, and then the floodgates open in the third. You gave up 4. You gave up 2. You tried to scratch back a little bit. You're down 7-0. You scratch one across on the 5th and the 6th. So going into the 7th inning, you're down 7-2. You give up 5 runs. You get run ruled 12-2. Getting run ruled to open a weekend series on the road in the SEC is not good. Now, it's not taking anything away from either team, really. It's just the vibes going into the rest of the weekend are going to be tough. You have a massive uphill battle. I don't think anybody in their right mind is saying that South Carolina was going to go into this series and win it. I don't think that anybody was expecting that necessarily because not only are you on the road, but you're facing a top 3 team. They're 21-2. They have been one of the best teams in the SEC now for a decade. And they've been an elite program for quite some time. But that's where you're trying to get back to, so it's very frustrating. On the night, you only had 6 hits, 2 runs. Nothing crazy to be disappointed about there. Obviously, it's a great night for their pitching staff. I think the thing that frustrates me the most out of it, it's not the 6 hits. It's that nobody 1 through 9 had multiple hits, so not a ton of adjustments being made from each time through the order. The thing that is, I think, the worst part of it, the opposing pitcher, Zach Root for Arkansas. Tremendous pitcher, great job. Obviously, he's our Friday starter. Fine. You didn't get into the bullpen at all. He went all 7. He threw 92 pitches, and you didn't get into the bullpen at all. I don't know what I'm more upset about, whether it's the not getting into the bullpen or the fact that you only allowed 92 pitches. If you don't get into the bullpen and they throw out somebody in there, it's like, hey, we have to save our arms for what we think is going to be a high-scoring weekend or whatever. And so they end up throwing 120 pitches, 115. That doesn't happen a ton in college baseball. But, if that's what happened, that'd be one thing. 92 pitches in 7 innings means you saw roughly 13 pitches per inning. That's not getting it done. 13 pitches per inning is not – that's just not good baseball. That's just not a good offensive approach. I don't know how many first pitch outs you saw. I personally, as a hitter, I always love jumping on a first pitch. I know some coaches frown upon that, especially if you're down. And you, especially in a game like this, where you're trying to get into the bullpen early in the week, you don't want to have the starter just end up going all 7. So I don't know what that looked like. I do know the fact that he faced 27 batters in 7 innings. He struck out 7, gave up 2 earned runs, only had 1 walk, and had 7 Ks. Now on the other side of that, I mean, Carolina struck out 9. I mean, Matthew Becker gave up. It's one of the most intriguing stat lines of the season. Kid goes almost, he goes 3 1/3, so he goes into his 4th inning of pitching. You take out Brandon Stone after he gives up 3 runs. Becker comes in, and I guess just the wheels fall off late. But 8 hits in 3.1 innings, 3 1/3. You had 6 strikeouts in 3 1/3. I mean, that is good. How did we manage to give up 5 runs and 8 hits also in those 3 1/3? 18 batters faced. 18 batters faced for the starting pitcher Brandon Stone and also Matthew Becker, and they went a combined 6 1/3. They saw 36 batters faced combined in 6 1/3. I'm not great at math, but anytime the lineup goes through 4 times and you're barely in the 7th inning, that's not good. That's not good. So it's frustrating. That's all. Get over here, Pepper. Pepper's frustrated too, and I don't blame her. So is tomorrow a must-win? No, it's not a must-win, but I do think you need to leave Fayetteville with at least 1 win. We talked about this on the show earlier this week, and what you really want out of this team, like over the next 2 weeks, is being able to get 3 total wins. You already got 1 earlier in the week against College Charleston. I'm sorry, for this weekend and next. Like, you need to avoid getting swept in both, obviously, but ideally you would like to at least win 1 and the midweek to feel good about what your chances going into the rest of the SEC season. Now, I don't want to get into the first 3 series after the first 3 series and only have 3 wins, but it does look like that's what you're facing. That's what you're up against after the opening series loss to Oklahoma, because you are going to face the number 3 team in the country and then the number 1 team in the country next week. Tennessee's beatable. They lost 2 games in a row in their midweek game against, I forgot, East Tennessee State, and then the Friday night game against Alabama. They came back tonight. LSU looks, every bit the part as maybe the best team in the country. I don't know. Either way, I do know that Arkansas and Tennessee are both in the top 3 right now. Look at this. I mean, what's going on here? Pepper, can we just do the show? Anyway, she's had a long day. But it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things where winning baseball it's tough, especially in year 1 as a new coach. And like, Paul Maneri is great. He has a phenomenal resume, track record. He's one of the best college baseball coaches in the country, but he's in year 1. And there are pieces on this team. There's just not, I don't know if there are enough pieces on the team yet to play up to the standard of what the rest of the league currently looks like. I don't know what the ceiling is for this team. I do think that, we talked about this before, the first thing they need to do is learn how to win. And tonight's probably a wash because it's a good Arkansas team, and it's, there's times when you're gonna get run rolled, and you throw out the tape and you come in early the next day and go right back to work. That's the beauty of baseball. It's a long season, but you need to figure out a way to try and eke out a win like you did last week against Oklahoma, where you lose in the first game on Friday, you come back and beat them 11-5 or whatever in the second day. It's an Arkansas team that has struggled. Like this Arkansas team hasn't dominated a ton of the teams they've played. They are a beatable team. They just haven't been beaten a lot yet. So anyway, that is all for today's show. I'm gonna go give my dog some attention because she definitely needs it. Appreciate you guys. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your night. Tomorrow we'll be back with another recap episode of the baseball game, game 2 of the series against Arkansas, and talk about some news of 3 players on the basketball team entering the portal. I wanted that to be its own show, so we'll get into that tomorrow as well. Appreciate you guys. Go Cox.